This is the 31st episode of the Illegal Use of Hands to the Face Football Podcast. How you doing, Jake?
Great, Hayden. How are you?
Tremendous. I got my little new chair here. Not really new, but new for the video's sake. So, yeah. Detroit Lions football. Any news that I may have overlooked that you want to discuss that doesn't have to do with the Lions today?
Uh, it has to do with the team that we covered in our last episode, the Eagles. Ryan Kerrigan signed with the Eagles. Really, just keep on bolstering that D line, something that they don't need to touch at all.
Yeah, that's not news because what did that do? Did that change? Yeah, yeah, you got your old division rivals player, but like, what did it? It did nothing for your team. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk about the
Yeah,
Eagles anymore, honestly.
yeah. No, I understand.
And I think today's going to be a pretty quick episode too, honestly, because yeah, I mean, I feel like I can fill a lot of time talking about nothing with stuff that happened last season, but I can't even do that today because these guys do not have many returning starters at many positions at all.
No, they do not.
Yeah, that's pretty rough there for them. You want to get right into it?
Yeah, sure. I'll breeze through my notes that I have. The four games that I watched for them were the Cardinals game, the Colts game, uh, the second Chicago game, and the Tampa Bay game. Uh, yeah, I don't have a lot to say. They went 5-11, which I mean, great for them compared to the other teams. It's watching them play. It's like, how did you guys win 5 games? So that's a plus. But you could tell why they won 5 games because Matthew Stafford is just so
No,
good.
it's because it's not just because of Stafford. It's because of all the other guys that also left this offseason.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just everyone that left willed them to 5 wins. But it's just so obvious when you watch Matthew Stafford play. It's like this guy's so good, and no one ever talks about him. And now, just everyone's going to be talking about him now that he's on the Rams. So that's exciting. The Tampa Bay game is just a straight up slaughter. I watched that game live, and it was just it was an exhibition in everything that is wrong with the Detroit Lions.
Why'd you choose to watch that one back?
Oh, just because I wanted to see if I missed any. Like, I wanted to watch it again, mainly. Yeah, because I wanted to have it fresh in my mind to talk about, and see if there was anything to take notes on. But just Brady could have thrown for 9 touchdowns that game, but they decided to put Blaine Gabbert in, and I loved that. Um, their run game is so confusing. I don't understand what they're doing. They drafted a young running back, and you'd think, well, let's get the mileage out of him. Let's get use out of him, get him some snaps, and they just don't do that, and they give all of his carries to Adrian Peterson,
The
and they
thing
also give
is,
carry to Johnson too. So
the thing is with that, um, I'm much more happy to see Adrian Peterson still run like a madman because
oh
I
yeah,
swear he's still like going off. Like it'd be different if he was just like sucking. Like Frank Gore's literally just sucking. I have no idea why he's been employed like any of the past like 3 seasons even. But Adrian Peterson's still running the ball hard. I mean, I enjoy watching him run. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird to go out and get a running back early though, and then kind of just kind of make him step aside for that. But I like Adrian Peterson a lot more than Frank Gore if we're talking about guys in similar age ranges. So I'm being a little biased there. But yeah,
yeah,
you got one more
yeah.
thing or anything else?
Uh, it's a stat thing, so I'll save that for later.
Okay. So for them, because I knew that I was mostly just gonna watch 4 games of players that they weren't on that aren't on the team anymore, I threw out one of my games and instead I watched 14 minutes of Jared Goff highlights and I gathered 3 whole notes in 14 minutes of Jared Goff gameplay. You ready for those 3 notes?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Everyone knows it's a ton of play action, crossing routes, and short routes for Jared Goff. Everybody knows that. That's one of the notes. So I mean, it's not even really a note because I said everybody knows it. Then 2 is I would think Dan Campbell would value the run game and have an effective pass game off of that. So, I mean, maybe we can continue a lot of the play action stuff that Goff had a lot of success on, but we'll have to see how he plays it out. And then lastly, I don't think he is bad at getting the ball up the field. The Rams just want to kill you after the catch, so he's not being asked to look far down the field ever. So, no real knocks, but no real pluses either for Jared Goff. It's just what it is. And I'd say it's a slight downgrade from Matt Stafford, but honestly, with the value they got by getting Goff, in terms of like draft picks and stuff, I can't say that it's like they got swindled or anything. So, then for the actual team, this is by far like the least notes I could have for a team because I'm like only picking out guys that were still on the team, and yeah, I'm watching 90% of the game. Like I watched Hawkinson. This after the second game, I saw Hawkinson catch like a 4-yard out route in the highlights. And I was like, that's nothing I would ever consider commenting on. But just because my notes were so few and far between, I was like, oh, should I actually write that Hawkinson caught a 4-yard pass? But no, I didn't because I realized, wow, that's stupid. So these are really quick too. Jeff Okudah looks good against the Cardinals. That's the first thing. There are so few guys returning to this team. Nice hurdle, DeAndre Swift. Marvin Hall, deep ball alert. That's exciting because he's coming back. Him and Quintus Cephas are like the weirdest two receivers for Goff to have because they're deep threats in terms of what Goff had before. Just guys that wanted to be route runners / crossing route runners and run after the catch in Cup and Woods. And I didn't mention Tyrell Williams or Brashad Perriman there because I was specifically just talking about the guys that are returning to the team. But DeAndre Swift also doing good work in the screen game. And he was just generally looking a lot better than I expected. I also really enjoyed this note. This is... Oh, yeah. By the way, I said this is like the shortest list of notes I had, and 2 of the notes aren't even about the team, because the next 2 notes aren't about the Lions at all. It's, why did no one tell me that Chase Young literally lost the football team a game this year? I didn't realize that, because he got a roughing the passer call at the end of the game that allowed them to have one more play and then get in field goal range to kick the game-winning field goal. So 2 plays, but, I mean... Somebody should have told me because this is the Chase Young, the anti-Chase Young podcast, so we really should have that information on file. And I like the Falcons' red fading into black jerseys, and I didn't comment on that. I don't know when they got released, I don't know how much I liked them, but I got to see them today because I didn't watch that Falcons game for the Falcons, but I watched it for the Lions, and I only watched with like their standard black or standard white jerseys. I like that look for them, though. I like that in a live game. And I just said, I'm just staring at all these guys that aren't going to be on the team next season. And then the last thing I said is nice game-winning TD for Hawkinson. So basically, the only like 2 real notes I had for the season were that Jeff Okudah, number 3 overall pick last year, looks good, as he should. Or he was number 3, right? I think he was. And then DeAndre Swift looked decent as well when he got the ball.
Yep.
This is gonna be over just like that. Stats wise, you can go first.
I only have one stat, and it's I just thought it was weird. The only real notable thing, Agnew had only 14 punt returns and 1 touchdown.
Yep, because Danny Amendola wanted to take those away from him. Yeah, nothing like putting a mid-30s white guy back there to return kicks. That's always exciting.
We just need someone to call for fair catch.
Wait a minute. How many white return men have we seen that you would call dangerous? Like, do you count Edelman? Because like I'm not scared when Edelman is back deep.
Like. Yeah, I'm trying to think of white return men, and they've all Amendola, Welker, and
like,
Edelman.
What are you doing, guys? Come on, I mean, it's not even just that. It's not like I'm just talking about like white guys specifically. I'm just talking about the fact that like teams don't put exciting players back to return
No.
kicks at all anymore. It's so stupid. Put a
Yeah,
guy back
and
there with some speed and moves. Like we just got
Yeah.
this guy back there with mid-tier speed, but he's got really good punt catching ability. And it's like, what are we doing? It's a free play. It's the only time that you have the ball where it's first down no matter what happens. Unless you manage to run back into your own end zone for a safety or score a touchdown. It's first down no matter what happens.
Yeah, and the Lions have one of the more, or they had one of the more electric returners in the NFL in Agnew, and they were just like, nah, let's just take return opportunities away from him because we just want someone that'll be back there to call fair catch.
He can leave. So dumb. All right, I'll give you my stats. I got a few more stats. TJ Hawkinson had 67 catches for 723 yards, so he stat-wise had a lot better of a season than I thought he did. Honestly, though, in the games, like, he wasn't that exciting. He had that game-winning touchdown catch, but, like, he was wide open, so, like, if that was any other point in the game, it wouldn't have been exciting, and honestly, there wasn't much exciting watching him. DeAndre Swift also had 46 catches, too, out of the backfield, which was pretty impressive for how often he was actually on the field. Like, if he was the full-time starter, he could be almost up to, like, 80, 90 or something wild. And then he also had 521 yards on the ground. And then I said what you just said. I said, Agnew was great in the return game, but I would say it's a negative to not have Prater, but Prater only hit on 75% of his field goal attempts last season, so maybe not that big of a deal. And then here's the fun name that I don't recognize that I have to talk about. Amani Oruwari. 7 passes defended and 15 starts last season, plus an interception. I was interested to see that because I didn't even recognize that name, but he was starting 15 games for them at corner, and it doesn't seem like he did too badly, so props to him being opposite Jeff Okudah, I guess. That's pretty exciting to see that they may actually have the corner spots locked down, although my favorite cornerback / linebacker was picked up by this team, so... But I've got to be honest, I'm pretty sure he's the only one that I put that classification onto, so I don't know how big of an accomplishment that is. Jamie Collins in 14 games had 1 interception, 6 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, a sack, 101 tackles, and 6 tackles for loss. I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything. So he's still good. I didn't know he was being that productive for Detroit, so that's good for them. Jamie Collins is still doing well. And then Romeo Okwara, 3 forced fumbles, 10 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 18 quarterback hits. That's also pretty impressive. I didn't know he was doing so well on the D line for them either. I mean, I guess I should say that I wouldn't know much about the Lions players no matter what. However, was a big Kenny Golladay fan last season and before that, but I mean now he's gone too. So maybe my new favorite Lions player can be one of these defensive guys that I also just picked out. And even one last guy to mention, Tracy Walker, not a ton of stats, but just the fact that at the safety position, he was second on the team in tackles with 87 was kind of solid from him, at least. I mean, I don't love seeing tackles at the safety position, but he at least did have Jamie Collins in front of him for it. And then now we'll get into the acquisitions and the losses, which is just like massive lists on both sides. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'll go through the notable guys that I saw for their gains first. Tyrell Williams and Brashad Perriman, I think, are like those are their new number 1, number 2 receivers, kind of.
Sadly.
Yeah, Tyrell Williams kind of, besides, I don't know, we've never seen Amon-Ra St. Brown play yet, but just with the guys there in that room, all right, he's like the number 1 indefinitely at this point.
Can I just say something quick about this?
Yeah.
I just would be so much more entertained with this team if they were willing to go out there with Quintez Cephas and Marvin Hall as their number 1 and number 2 receivers. I love those guys. I think they're a lot of fun. I don't think they would be very good, but I think they're a lot of fun. And the other thing is, they didn't like drastically improve with Perriman or Tyrell Williams. I think Tyrell Williams is probably actually underrated. But as for Perriman's kind of an up and down guy. So I mean, I just think it would have been funnier if they walked out there with literally there would be like for the casual fan, there would be no one in the receiver room that the casual fan had ever heard of. And it would be like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that'd be great. But those two guys they bring in wide receivers, they snag Jamal Williams away from the Packers to bring in another running back into that running back room after they cleaned house with it, kinda getting rid of Kerryon Johnson and not signing back AP. Dan Campbell brings a New Orleans guy in and Alex Anzalone. So another decent linebacker to bring in. He's kind of the captain of that defense in New Orleans. And then strengthening their secondary a little bit more with Quentin Dunbar and Corn Elder from Carolina.
Oh, you talk about Corn Elder, but not some of these other guys I got listed? Oh,
Corn
boy.
Elder just has a better name.
Did you mention Michael Brockers?
No, because I had those guys listed on the Goff trade, Goff Stafford trade. I had that in a different section on my paper, so I wasn't even looking at that.
Okay. Well, yeah, you got Goff Brockers, mentioned Jamal Williams, like you said. I don't know. The only thing with bringing in Jamal Williams is then you don't really have to worry about which running back is in the game because he's kind of the same style as DeAndre Swift, so you know both your guys are going to be fairly similar. It doesn't even really you don't have to like change your scheme based off who's on the field, so that's kind of a good thing. I like Tyrell Williams. It's just kind of funny that before they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyrell Williams was like the only guy on the team that wasn't a speed receiver. That's freaking hilarious. So I mean, it's even funnier because Goff is their quarterback, who's not known for flinging the ball like deep at all. So it's just like we got all these speed guys. It's like, yeah, they're not going to be going deep though. And then Brashad Perriman, former speed guy, but kind of transformed his game with Tampa Bay 2 years ago, but then didn't do much of anything last year. Last year, where was he?
The Jets.
Just making sure I was remembering correctly. Alex Anzalone, honestly, it's a name that we know, but I don't know how much I've ever really been terribly impressed with him. Randy Bullock is not the replacement I wanted to see for Matt Prater, to say the least. And then the last three guys I have, Dean Marlowe, because he's from Buffalo, so we have to mention him. Quinn Dunbar is interesting. I like that. Also, if I'm remembering correctly, he's kind of like at least somewhat bigger of a guy. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're kind of getting this kneecap type thing really going with the bump and run here. Be really nice. I mean, they're gonna have. I don't know much about the guy I mentioned earlier with, and I don't even want to say his first name because I can't, or sorry, his last name because I can't get it. But the cornerback named Amani. I don't know what his build is like, but geez, with Dunbar, Afitu, and the kid from Ohio State. Oh my gosh, Okuda. Yeah, with those three, I mean, they're gonna have some bump and run that not many teams are able to do, and then they add to their speed receiver depth by going with Khalif Raymond, and Khalif Raymond's not a guy that's worth mentioning other than the fact that he's a speed receiver, so it's very important that this team picked him up.
Oh yeah. You know, Jared Goff's really going to just transform his arm this offseason, start slinging like 50-yard rockets down the field.
Maybe it's just because they're only going to have like two routes in the route tree and they're all in breaking, and they're like, well, the thing is the corners are always going to know what we're running, but if our guys are faster, it won't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if they know what you're doing. Just run past them.
Just run faster than them.
Oh man. Their losses in free agency. It's a way bigger list than what I have, but just the notable names. Galladay is the biggest one out of all of them. Marvin Jones Jr., Jamal Agnew, Matt Prater, Deron Harmon, Desmond Trufant, and Chase Daniel. Which is weird. I thought they would have kept Chase Daniel, one of the best backups in the NFL, and just cut him. Not even his contract went up. Just you cut him.
All right, I'm gonna have trouble remembering which ones you said because honestly, I wasn't even like screwing around. Like all of these names to me would be like significant losses. Maybe there's one I put on here. It's probably just because he was a former Bill, so I'll take the one back. But I'm just gonna run through all of them. Matt Stafford, Darryl Roberts, Mohamed Sanu, Miles Killebrew, Gerard Davis, Kenny Galladay, Danny Shelton, Reggie Ragland's the stupid one, Justin Coleman, Chase Daniel, Jamal Agnew, Marvin Jones, Desmond Trufant, Deron Harmon, Matt Prater, Everson Griffin, Jesse James, Danny Amendola, Josh Hill, Adrian Peterson. Josh Hill was mentioned there because former Saints tight ends coach, and Josh Hill was a former Saint, so geez, it's really weird that he wouldn't keep Josh Hill around. And then let me go back and just see if there's any guys I want to mention. I feel like, if I remember correctly, Darryl Roberts played pretty well for them, so they didn't really want to lose him. I like Gerard Davis, but he was just kind of stuck there. Galladay was honestly insane. If he was on like a big market team, which he's in New York now, so holy crap, he's going to have the attention on him finally. Justin Coleman was one of the best slot corners in the game for a while there. I don't know what happened, but geez, there's a point where he was on the top of his game. Jamal Agnew's a crazy weapon. Marvin Jones is the only active receiver in the NFL with multiple 4+ touchdown games. Trufant, we all know him. Deron Harmon, the luckiest man ever in terms of getting interceptions to fall right into his arms. And when I was watching one of the games earlier, of course, again, saw another interception where the ball fell right into Harmon's arms. And then, like I said, Matt Prater, he's pretty good. He just had a bad year last year, and apparently they just didn't like 1 year enough that they got rid of him. And they traded for Everson Griffin and got rid of him really quickly. And they lost their two old guys in Amendola and Adrian Peterson, so I don't even know who's going to leave that locker room. But Dan Campbell seems like the type of guy that'll be able to get in everybody's face and get their attention no matter what. So I guess I don't have to worry. They don't need any player coaches because their coach is enough of a coach.
Yeah, they don't need any wily vets in there because every single coach that's on that staff played in the NFL at one point, so it really just doesn't matter.
And the best part is they all played in the NFL less than 10 years ago. They're a bunch of young, crazy, insane guys. Their CTE is just kicking in.
Yeah, it's a bunch of guys that really just want to get back out there. I'm waiting for Tyrell Williams, Rashad Perriman to drop a ball and then just one of the coaches rip their helmet off, strap it back on, and get out there.
I just love the idea like that the players come off to the sideline and they don't even like yell at them. They just start like beating them up because they're stronger than their players.
Yeah. There's going to be no hazing on this team. It's just if you suck, we're going to beat you up.
Okay. To the draft, right? I mean,
yeah, to the draft.
We got Goff, Stafford, and Brockers. Should we talk about Brockers' apology statement to Goff? That's really a great.
Yeah, that apology statement's great. I mean,
nothing like how did the Lions go? Okay, we just traded Matt Stafford for Jared Goff. Okay, there's one player currently on the Rams that just bashed Jared Goff after he left. Let's trade for that guy. Who is the general? I realized it was only a 7th round pick for a fairly decent player, but I mean, like, come on, there's got to be like some team chemistry, like some sort of discussion, like, hey, this may mess up the vibes in the locker room.
I don't think you have to worry about that with Dan Campbell, though. That man is the chemistry. He's gonna be the glue that holds that team together.
He will always have that team in the perfect mental state.
He's just going to make Michael Brockers and Jared Goff like bare knuckle fist fight. It's just, you guys gotta work this out. So we're gonna go into the locker room. You guys are just gonna fist fight each other. We're gonna see how this goes. All right?
Yeah, that would be fair. That's an even matchup.
There's going to be no drama that happens with that team because everyone's just going to like fight each other. He's going to get a boxing ring installed in that locker room just so they can settle team beef with that.
Do you feel like there's even anybody on that roster that's like enough of a superstar like that he could even have like any hotheads at all? There's no one that's like a big enough name to even do it.
Jared Goff might think he is. That could probably be the only thing.
Yeah, because we've really seen way too much of like Jared Goff like way over talking himself. Jared Goff is like chill. Nah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, he could be the only guy that has that mentality of, like, well, I took my team to a Super Bowl, that kind of thing. I don't think he will, but if there's anyone in the locker room, it would be him.
I'm forgetting right now. Off the top of your head, where did Jared Goff go to college? Cal?
Cal.
He did go to Cal. Yeah. So he's like a surfer dude. So yeah, there's no way there's no way.
You know who's also a surfer dude that went to Cal?
Trent Edwards.
No. No. The guy that's having drama with his team right now that's also in the NFC North.
Nah, I'm not paying attention to what you're saying. Trent Edwards is purely on my mind right now. Like I can't even think about what you're talking about at the moment.
Yeah, okay. So
that's completely off my radar.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Let's just move on to the draft. Then.
Run through it. Give me the rundown. Tell me what's good. Tell me what's bad.
The Penei Sewell pick, you and I both weren't too hot about that when it happened. It's grown on me a little bit. I mean, just with the playmakers that were on the board, I think they could have done a lot more with that pick than taking Sewell. But if Dan Campbell's plan is we're going to win in the trenches, which it sure seems like with his first 3 picks, then, I mean, go for it. Levi Owens.
Why not the first 4 picks?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the first 4 picks. Sorry.
That was a Melon Fonwu joke for anyone not looking at their draft class currently.
His second pick, Levi Owunzurike. I liked what I saw from him. I liked what I saw in the Senior Bowl when I watched it of him. He's a real tough guy, and I mean, he said that he like wants to kill people when he's on the football field, so that's a perfect Dan Campbell guy.
Now I know why he went there.
Yeah, Aleem McNeil, another solid interior defensive lineman. That's a pretty weak position for the Lions, so it's really nice after the past couple draft classes we've looked at, teams actually addressing needs that they had.
Kind of.
But
I don't see Penei Sewell as a guard, because I look at this roster, and I'm just like, you have 3 guys that I think are capable starters at tackle. So we're benching one of them to now make it so that you have 4 capable please move one of them. I don't know if any of their body types fit it, but it's just really weird to me to have 4 tackles like that. But yes, sorry, every guy you've gotten through since then, they are filling needs. However, you're failing to mention that this roster basically has like no positions that aren't needs. So it's almost like they couldn't have gotten it wrong because every position is a need.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the Jags draft class, but that's also like the one that we've loved the most so far going through it.
No, because I thought there was like 2 or 3 positions on the Jags roster that they needed. And then like other positions, I felt like they had enough talent to like work with it. This team, on the other hand, I would say like even though they picked a tackle first, like tackle was one of the spots I was okay with. I'm fine with Jared Goff for the time being, and then based off what I saw at the cornerback position, I'm kind of fine with corner as well, and maybe sort of defensive end, but that still leaves like, what did I name there? Basically like 6 or 7 starting positions. There's 22 starters. I mean, that leaves a lot of room for many positions to still be picked.
Mm-hmm. After Aleem McNeil, who I thought was solid, they get Fetu Melifonwu, who, I mean, that's kind of, I'm not going to say our guy, but just if Dan Campbell moves into linebacker, he's definitely going to be our guy at that point.
I love that. Like our biggest meme guy, like that's what I'll call him. Like he's
meme coach.
Yeah, basically. Like our memeiest player of the draft goes to our memeiest coach of the offseason.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and
Of
like you
this
said,
Sorry, I
uh,
was just gonna say of this offseason specifically because Dan Campbell. I mean, he seems pretty cool. The only reason he's the memeiest coach of this offseason is because of the one comment he made that just
oh
seemed over the
yes,
top.
yeah. But as you say before, that bump and run game for the Lions is going to be insane with the bodies that they have out there playing corner for them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I was surprised he made it to the fourth. I thought he would have been taken before then. He seemed like a guy that the Chiefs would have been high on the Chiefs board because, I mean, when I was watching him, it seems like he only has one route in his route tree, and that's the go. I don't know. It seemed like it was him running straight and the quarterback dropping the ball in a bucket to him. So, I mean, Jared Goff's that guy. He can uncork the ball.
Yeah, he's not fast enough for the Chiefs.
Yeah, but he was just a go route guy. Like, did you see him run anything else besides a go route? Because I just saw him like running straight almost every single time.
I didn't watch much of him. Goes and slants, goes and slants. No, but I thought he was more of a body guy. I mean, I'll tell you what I said.
Yeah,
What I said for him right now is like I said I like this pick because I think they need receivers more than they realize, and this gives them a guy besides Tyrell Williams that isn't just a speed guy. I don't necessarily think he's crazy good, but I think his play style is a lot less like a speed guy, and he has some more abilities than just his speed because I don't think he's that fast anyways.
yeah. I think in my pre-draft for him when I was ranking my receivers, my analysis for him had him as like DK Metcalf running on 50%. That's what I had him listed as. Then they get a linebacker and Derek Barnes. It's kind of redundant if you're going to take Melifonwu, but I mean that linebacking core could use more depth from what I saw. Jamie Collins is kind of the only solid guy there. They brought in Anzalone though, so I mean Dan Campbell has a vision for the guys on his team. He's just getting guys that are going to be in the trenches hitting people until he made it to the seventh round and got Jamar Jefferson, a running back, because they need to. They went the offseason with having that running back room not crowded, and then they cleaned the guys out, and then they need to crowd it again by drafting a running back in the seventh round.
Yeah, well, they just need a third guy. Yeah, he pretty well. I mean, I find it interesting what teams are doing now. Teams are either doing a thing where they get like they have three running backs and all of them are extremely different. Like Zach Moss here. Sorry for Bill's example, but just first team that comes to mind. Last season specifically, Zach Moss, power guy. Devin Singletary, our like good handoff elusive guy, and then Yeldon's our quote-unquote receiving guy, even if we didn't use him as much in the receiving game as we potentially could have. It's pretty clear that they're like three different types of players. Meanwhile, you got other teams like the Lions, since we're talking about the Lions today, where they are doing the exact opposite, and they're choosing to go with three guys that have the exact same build now, in DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Jamar Jefferson, basically, which is interesting. And then to backtrack to what you said about Derek Barnes, I think, yeah, I really was in the I want Melifonwu to be a linebacker boat, but honestly, like if we're actually getting a defense that's like actually going to go a heavy bump and run scheme, which I don't think we've seen. And I just can't think of a team in a while, like since like the 2013 Seahawks maybe, that was willing to like get up and press you on like every play of the game if they thought they needed to. And I mean, Dan Campbell's Lions may just be the team that not even like schemes it like this week we're gonna do bump and run. It's just like an every week thing, like your guys versus ours. Like we'll go like we're a cover two, like we're a cover two man or a cover zero team, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Like get the ball out, figure it out, because you're gonna have a tough time doing it. Yeah, okay. This is now I got like some guys I talked about, some guys I didn't. Okay, so Panay Sewell, they should have grabbed a playmaking number one wideout. I think that would have drastically helped their team immediately a lot more than Sewell will, even though I think Sewell will be a great player. Um, it's so weird. Like I said, I just don't know how they're gonna figure this out with they've got like I said, they've got like four at least decent tackles in my opinion. And then like the interior of the offensive line, at the guard position at least, is kind of more questionable to me. So I don't know how that's going to work out when you have four guys that are like listed tackles that I'm confident in. I just didn't love it because like I mean if you have three, you got two starters, and then if one goes down, you could still hopefully throw the other one in no matter which side it is. But weird to me. So I would have gone receiver there. I just think that would have helped Goff out a lot because I don't know how much Tyrell Williams or T.J. Hawkinson is going to be looked at as very intimidating number one receiver threats, because those are basically the only two guys that I think could really have a chance to be the scary wide receiver playmaker on that offense. Levi Onwuzurike, he is a solid presence up front, so honestly seems like a good value and a fine pick to me. Aleem McNeil, this guy has some talent. I feel strange about him, but I can understand it. I don't know why I feel strange about him. Just like, hadn't seen him before, and something about when I was watching him felt strange, but it didn't feel like a bad pick either. And then Melifonwu, I basically already said what I have to say about him, just the bump and run stuff. Amon-Ra St. Brown said it, that I like him because he kind of complements Tyrell Williams' position style. So if they want a specific receiver to fit that slightly more bigger build with some more bodying abilities and stuff like that, then Tyrell Williams can step in, or Amon-Ra St. Brown can step in for Tyrell Williams if he ever needs to. And then Derek Barnes, I think the only thing I left off here, because I mentioned Jermar Jefferson already, is that I liked Derek Barnes. You could put this guy in a lot of different positions and still see him produce. I thought he was a very good value for how late they got him. I'm just wondering what position he's actually going to be, because honestly it seemed like he could play a lot of positions from what I saw. And then undrafted free agents, no names I recognize. They had 13 guys, so I don't know. I'm not going to go through all of them individually, though.
Yeah, I looked through their list too, and there's no one that I really watched before. And if there's no one that I watched before that was an undrafted free agent, I kind of just been like, well, I'm not going to watch them now or watch them again, watch more of them, because I have no idea about that. I don't really want to waste my time watching a guy that played at a D3 school and was a backup.
Yeah. No, I don't either.
Uh, Moving on to their schedule, I think we've gone through or it's
I
you
can go
now, isn't
first.
it?
I can
Yeah,
go
just
first.
go first here.
I don't care. Week 1 versus San Francisco, loss. Week 2 at Green Bay, loss. Week 3 versus Baltimore, loss. That's a screwy schedule. They may be like oh geez, well we gave them San Fran week 1. That's an easy game. San Francisco wasn't good last year just based off win losses. Oh my gosh, San Francisco is going to be so good this year. Are you kidding me? You give one of the worst teams in the league opening, let's just be honest, like one of the worst rosters in the league's opening 3 games are against 3 teams that are all competing for like conference championships this year. At least like these teams would all probably say that like it's a bad season if they don't get to at least the conference championship game. So that's just ridiculous. And then you go at Chicago. Chicago's not a bad team either, with competent quarterback play. Their playoff team last year and competent quarterback play this year. That's just a miserable first 4 games. But I mean, the first 3 specifically are even worse. So that's a loss too. At Minnesota, this is the first one that I at least had to put any bit of thought into, but that's still a loss. And then the next week versus Cincinnati. I have to say that if I just went before watching them today and seeing their draft picks and guys and players that they acquired before today, I probably would have just said lost to Cincinnati. But actually, I feel like they did a better job filling in spots, and I guess their roster looks more even with Cincinnati than I thought. Even though Cincinnati had less holes to fill going into the offseason, the Lions filled their holes a lot better than Cincinnati did. So this is a toss-up for me, not a win. And honestly, I'm not giving the Lions any straight-up wins. So toss-ups are the only hope here. Then from here, we go next week at Los Angeles. I don't think this is a close game either. I think the Rams are going to be way better with Matt Stafford at QB. I think that's going to make that offense probably explode. And on top of that, not only that, they're adding a guy with a huge arm at quarterback, but now they're adding like, I mean, there's some guys that I'm like, okay, that guy's just stupid, like a play, and stupid in the sense like, what is this guy really? We're gonna value him this highly? Like, I don't think he should be valued as highly as he should. And then they go to a specific team, and I'm like, but that team can use him, right? And it's like Tutu Atwell. If you were trying to get him on the field all the time and like way overuse him, that could be an issue. But I feel like the Rams are going to know how to use him. And he's got a veteran guy in front of him in Deshaun Jackson who can like teach him the craft extremely well. So I'm talking about the Rams a lot here, but basically what I'm saying is the Rams are still going to be able to hit their crossing routes and potentially now with the cannon of the arm they have with Stafford be able to hit the deep ball too. They're going to be really hard to stop no matter who you are. So I don't think the Lions are one of those teams that's going to be the team to figure it out. Who knows? Maybe some of the Lions that are still on the team may have Matt Stafford figured out, but I'm pretty sure it's like 1 out of the 53 guys that was on roster last season is returning. So, no, it's more than that, but it's still pretty bad. And then next week, I do give them a second toss-up here versus Philadelphia. They have a chance to win this game. Philadelphia's not insane. The Lions are not insane. Good game for them. Like, it'll at least be competitive. Then we get back into a stretch here of just straight-up losses. We're going to Pittsburgh, loss. Maybe if they were the home team, but just loss going to Pittsburgh. At Cleveland, loss. Chicago again. Still think Chicago's good, so loss. Now, they got Minnesota at home this time. This is going to be a shocker because it's going to be a toss-up. Not a win, but a toss-up. Then Denver the following week. Once again, every Denver game is extremely hard to predict because we have no idea how they're going to be looking by the time the season comes. But toss-up for them. The only team that is harder to talk about than Denver, they have the following week because we have no idea when this team will show up and when they won't because we know it's going to be a one-score game no matter who they play. And that's the issue with them because they're playing the Cardinals every week. And honestly, what I wrote here is that if I did the Cardinals prediction, literally every single game would be a toss-up in the Cardinals episode, I'm thinking at this point. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to say when we actually get there, but I'm just like, maybe one straight-up win, one straight-up loss, and 15 games I call toss-ups. But yeah, I don't know. So toss-up for that game against Arizona. But then to end the season, I've just got 3 straight-up losses. At Atlanta, at Seattle. Those 2 games, maybe I could have given them some credit at home, but not really. And then the Packers are the final team they play, and I just think the Packers roster overall is significantly better, even if they don't have Aaron Rodgers. And actually, honestly, I'd say I'm pretty confident on the under here because the over-under for this team is 5, and I have them at 2.5 with my toss-ups, but 3 of those toss-ups are on the road, so actually I have them going like 2-15.
All right. Let me go through it. I don't do toss-ups, but you do. I just give it how it is, straight up wins and losses.
So you got 0-17?
San Francisco, that's an L. At Green Bay, that's an L. Baltimore's an L. And same reason that you said before. These are all teams that are competing for a conference championship. If they get anything worse than that, it's a bad season for them. Chicago, at this point in the season, I think Justin Fields could was that week 4. Justin Fields could definitely be the quarterback at that point, and if that happens, that could be a way worse game of for the Lions than if Andy Dalton's there.
Yep.
At Minnesota, that's an L. I just don't think the Lions roster is just very, very weak and inexperienced. Cincinnati, I have Cincinnati getting the win against them when I did Cincinnati's prediction, so it's an L here for Detroit. At the Rams, that's just an L. I mean, Jamie Collins might have Stafford's number, but even if Jamie Collins gets 2 pick sixes and 3 sacks, I still think the Rams win that. At Philadelphia, I said Philly gets a win here, so that's just how it is. Going into their bye week.
Like, for Philadelphia's episode, you said that Philadelphia would win the game, so you're saying it's a loss for Detroit.
Yes, okay. Detroit loses here.
Just clear.
So Detroit's going into the bye week with what is that? 8 straight losses. 0-8. They come out of it and they stun the world. They win at Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be that good.
You're only doing this because all the worst teams on their schedule, you already gave the other teams wins, so you have to find a team that we haven't talked about yet.
Listen to my logic here. The Steelers rely a lot on quick passing, and I think I saw Jeff Okudah jump some of those quick balls in his highlights, and Melifonwu does a great job of it too in college. I think, and they have more experienced corners that they brought in too. Losing Justin Coleman is tough, but if Ben wants to throw quick passes 50 times a game, and they have Najee Harris lining up at wide receiver now in practices, they don't even have him being running back at rookie minicamp. I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. That's one of the most confounding teams. I can't wait till we get to them. But I have Detroit getting a win. And then they lose to Cleveland, lose to Chicago again. At home against Minnesota, I say they split it with them. At that point, I think they have more film on Minnesota, and I just think that if they're going to beat any team in their division, it's going to be Minnesota. They lose at Denver, lose to Arizona, lose to Atlanta, lose to the Seahawks, lose to Green Bay.
That too?
And they finished 2-15.
Nice. So you're going actually. Are you pretty heavy under?
Yes. Finding out that 5 is the over under, I would definitely take the under on that.
The only thing I said, unless a short pass offense is employed that makes their pass offense like a top 10 pass offense in the league, that's the only way I see this team being like better than that 5-win mark. Is if if they have some sort of insanely effective short pass game where all their I don't know.
Yeah,
and I don't see that happening.
I think Dan Campbell's going to be a great coach. He's going to be a great leader of men. I don't think he's going to be smart enough with McVay to come up, but he has a lot of tape on what McVay does, but those crossing routes and the plays that McVay draws up are insane sometimes, and I can't see Dan Campbell doing that. But Goff might be able to tell him, here's some plays that I really love to do. Can we run these? And they have the speed guys that they could run them even shorter and just have a lot of rack from Quintez.
I think it's insane to meet the people who initially come up with it. I don't think it's insane to copy it. He should be able to copy it. Copying something is not difficult at all. And we're just NFL coaches, I'm not confident enough in you to copy it. And honestly, what we're saying about NFL coaches when we say that they aren't smart enough to copy it is really more I feel like this is the type of guy that's so kind of not necessarily self-centered, but there's a similar word I'm looking for that's less derogatory there, where it's they aren't willing to get away from their past thoughts and they don't want to have to figure out how to change things. They're just not innovative enough, and not even innovative in the sense of being creative, because like I said, it's just copying, but just innovative in the sense of being able to change their own perspective on things.
Yeah, Dan Campbell just doesn't strike me as a plagiarism kind of guy,
And that's basically what I mean.
He's just
gonna do what he knows already.
Well, he's coming from a great offensive mind in Sean Payton, so I wouldn't rule out that he has a way to uh craft a game that is comfortable for Goff and that could also get them some wins. But like you said, I can't see him having a top 10 short passing game that's going to win them 6, 7 games, get them over that over under
Oh
mark.
no, I don't even mean top 10 short passing game. I mean like the pass game. I guess I just want to clear this up. I'm guessing you understood me, but I want to make sure that everybody does. Not like not like the the short passing game itself, like if there's advanced stats that is just looking at the short passing
Hmm.
game, like, and they're top 10 in short passing offense. That's not what I mean. I mean they're top 10 team in terms of passing the ball total, just
Yes.
based off the effectiveness of their short pass game is what makes them a top 10 pass offense, and I don't see that happening like at all.
Yeah. Well, Goff's going to have a lot of time behind that offensive line. So,
Yeah, he should,
I
considering he's got like four competent left tackles. I mean, they're supposed to be the best pass blockers on the team, right? And I think Frank Ragnow is also like considered one of the best centers in the league. So I mean,
he just got an extension.
yeah. So I mean, that really should be what we're saying. Um, yeah, but I don't know. Jeez, just waiting to see what Dan Campbell is. Oh no, what I was gonna say before. Sorry, I was just trying to get back to this. Dan Campbell will have some effect on how the plays are drawn up, but he's not calling plays, I don't think.
No, he said he's not calling
So,
plays.
yeah, with that, we really should be probably in terms of talking about how the game actually plays out past like maybe the first 10, 15, however many scripted plays they got. And even then, scripts don't matter because if it's 3rd and 20 and you have like a play with like 4 drags called, you're not going to do that. You're going to run a screen pass, a draw, or go deep. You're not going to run some weird in between thing where it's like, just
Yeah.
something wild. So I mean, scripts
Well,
don't even necessarily matter. I don't know who the play caller is, but we
do
probably
you know,
should
yeah,
be
you
thinking.
don't know who the offensive coordinator is?
Oh wait, is it Say it. Just say it.
Anthony Lynn.
Okay. Hmm. I'll have to interpret that more, but yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know
The
how I'll
play action game with Anthony Lynn could be pretty dope, but I just straight up
Eh,
passing, like Anthony Lynn loves his running backs for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's why they swapped all these guys out and got new guys that he likes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I mean, it's really going to be more up to him basically for how the offense plays for 80 to 90% of the games as opposed to the actual head coach because he's in charge
Hmm.
of a lot more considering he's the one calling the plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, with that, I think we have concluded our Detroit Lions prediction. Are you all set?
Yeah, I think we can cut it here.